And we're talking about, we're talking about the human biomachine, the Breatharian Biomachine. And when you look on the internet and look at the biomachine of the human being, the medical establishment have it on there. They tell you how the circulatory system works. They tell you how the digestive system works. The whole different 12 systems of the body and how they're all interrelated. And if one system goes down, it affects the others.
Right.
But a lot of that stuff is based on the organism of how it was functioning at that time. So of course we had an establishment of what health should be when the standard of diet was the 4 food groups with the meat, this, that, and the other. But over the last 50, 60 years, veganism came on the scene. And at first it got beat up on real hard.
Right.
But now it got dominance on the planet, because it's a new program,
Right.
to where McDonald's is giving off a vegan burger now.
Right.
Ain't that something?
Right.
But back then it was like, you only could get your protein from meat.
Right.
So dealing with the human biomachine, that showed you that the information on what makes it work is changing. Now we got fruitarians, now we got people that can eat more live and raw foods and stuff like this. So the information is changing on how the human biomachine should work. But now, since we are extreme creatures with this consciousness that we have, we just don't quit. We're always evolving. We always thinking of new things. There's nothing wrong with that. Now there's information coming out with the Breatharian Biomachine. How does the machine work if it's eating very little or none at all?
Wow.
New information, but it's here. We're in the age now where we have more information on fasting and its benefits all across the board. And even the hospitals is telling you don't eat or drink for 12 hours before you get there.
Right.
So we could get a proper analysis on the body.
That's true.
And nobody is talking bad about it. Actually, in the medical field, they're saying a starvation diet. That's what they call it. That's the best diet. But let's get into it. There's many diet changes out there, but the best diet is eating nothing at all. And it's not even considered a diet.
Powerful.
Wow.
So now we're just upgrading what the human biomachine can function off of. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no crime for people talking about and teaching about breatharianism.
Right.
You should have these talks in your circles.
Right.
We're self-sustaining beings. And the thing about it, this knowledge is not new. It's always been here.
Right.
Right.
It's in all the symbology on the planet. Everybody's talking about the tree of life. Everybody talk about the serpent coming up the pole, which is the spinal cord. And meditation is the foundation. Those people who really master meditation and learn how to run the energy have great health benefits. We're in this type of age. Qigong has already been proven, lowering blood pressure, doing this. There's knowledge in the sun on what it could do. Get outdoors.
Absolutely.
We're in the good age now where the knowledge of East is meeting the West. And we're changing the knowledge of what must go and can apply to the human biomachine.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Wow.
Now, I know we hate being called a machine, but let's get the definition of what a machine is.
Okay.
First of all, when we look at all the external things that's been invented, a lot of it came off of how the human biomachine is working.
Right.
Your camera, for instance, they got that off how the eye works.
Right.
Absolutely.
Your digestive system, they got that from the car, how the car engine.
Right.
The fuel goes here, the gas comes out here, the fumes, the toxins. So our body is in this matrix showing an example of everything that's being created from it.
Right.
We're dealing with sound vibration,
Right.
light. We're light beings. Now when people hear that, we used to look at it as being metaphysical, but the age we live in now, that's all you see is light. So if you're looking at me and see me, you're looking at a light being.
Right.
That's not far-fetched. Even the cells of the body feed off of what? ATP. That's a high frequency energy that's off the atmosphere.
That's right.
It ain't got nothing to do with the food we eat. We might as well just come to the fruition and admit that we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how we work. And as this knowledge is here on the scene, we're upgrading from the last program that caused the pain and suffering. We got to admit it, because let's look at the manifestation of it. There's a thing called preventable diseases that's hitting all nations.
Right.
And that means it could have been prevented. It did not have to happen.
That's right.
It just wasn't like, well, that's the way nature works. Nature don't work like that.
Nope.
That means that somebody just don't have the curriculum. Well, I got it. Well, how the human biomachine is supposed to work.
Right.
Right.
Okay, come on now.
Now, there was a man who made the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest driving vehicle, straight off of the showroom floor. Not refurbished, same parts and everything. And they asked him, it had something like 2 million miles on it. That's where he got it for. And they asked him, thousands and thousands of cars came out that year, just like this car, and this one is still driving, it's still good. What did you do differently? And this is what he said. He said, I read the instruction manual that goes with the vehicle. And I did what the instruction manual told me to do. Over a certain amount of miles, it says change the tires.
Change the tires.
Right.
That's what he changed. It don't matter what I thought they looked like.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
This is when you change the oil. At this certain amount of miles. Don't wait till the oil light come on.
Right.
Right.
This is when you change it. So by doing that maintenance, doing that upkeep, the vehicle is still working just as good as when it came off the showroom floor. Now, what makes the human being so different? Once we understand this is a vehicle, this is how you travel, this is your number one transportation,
That's right.
Right.
this is your house you live in, it ain't got nothing to do with this other house.
Chevrolet.
Right. There's a manual that goes to it,
Right.
whether we realize it or not.
Right.
Right.
There is a thing called a universal truth that deals with universal laws.
Right.
That's the manual. And now we're dealing with the truth of a universal conscious that's the glue that holds everything together. This is the food-free path. We got to go there and tell the truth. Now listen at this. A machine. I got a definition of it. It says a machine is an apparatus using or applying mechanical power and having several parts, each with a definite function and together performing a particular task. Now let's go back to the human machine that the medical field already have for us.
Right.
It tells you about the certain different systems. The circular system, the digestive system, all these systems and what they do.
They all work together.
But they all must work together
Oh, that's right.
so it can fulfill its particular task.
Right.
Right.
What is our particular
Existing.
task? We existing.
Right.
Right.
Not living, we existing. We're supposed to go on forever. If this machine is up and running doing this particular task like the instruction manual said it's supposed to do. There's no device that's working right now that's greater than the heart, for instance. A person that's living 90 years old, that means that their heart was beating all of these years, day and night. That's a powerful machine.
Right.
Oh, man. And this machine that we live in is considered a biomachine. A living machine. That's a real term.
Right.
What do they say for a biomachine? It's a biological organism or group of organisms that function like or is treated as a machine. Now we can't say that's not true. That's what slavery is about. It used the human being as a machine. You work from sun up to sundown.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
Right. So let's go like far-fetched. And today that we're living in is the most slavery on the planet. That's another subject. But we're being used as machines. That's what you are. So now, if we understand that this body is a biomachine, we must put together the pieces of how to use the instruction manual so we can get the best performance so it can do its task. Yes, it has parts and pieces, but it works as a whole.
Right.
Nature works as a whole.
Right.
And we are nature.
Right.
We're one with nature.
Absolutely.
So that means not only with a machine that you look at as your individual self, you're connected with the whole picture of nature.
Absolutely.
That's why food freedom is a holistic lifestyle. Whole means whole, full, put together, everything, all the parts, working together for the ending task on its performance. That's what we meant to do. Not work against it. As soon as you work against it as an individual, you're already in trouble.
Right.
You are working as an individual part, not with the whole.
Right.
Right.
And the whole will not sustain you because it can't.
Right.
You're on your own. There's a saying that says, no man is an island. We don't work alone. So that tells you there ain't no free will. You're going to do what you got to do. That's what kills you.
Follow instructions.
That's what separates you.
Right.
And that brings on a consciousness of selfishness
Right.
that brings forth destruction,
Right.
sickness, illness, and pain. When you come back to food freedom on a Breatharian Biomachine, you're building a consciousness of putting all the pieces together to work as a whole one unit on thought and deed, and also how you treat relationships. You're one with everybody.
Right.
That's why the scripture says, treat your brothers, you treat yourself. That is nourishment, and then the overall consciousness. The consciousness, the unified force can sustain it. This isn't far-fetched.
Come on, man.
Nope.
Oh, man. Now listen at this. There's another thing called, since we're talking about things working together,
Okay.
you got different governments on the planet. Democracy, communism, socialism, this, that, the other. And when you look at all of them, they was built with good intention from a certain type of viewpoint. But those ain't the problem. The problem still goes back to the individual human being who forms the government in the first place. Right, the government is the people. But it deals with a consciousness.
Consciousness.
And as long as every individual person is working as an individual piece that brings forth separation,
It won't work.
nature is still not what? Sustaining you as an individual, nor is sustaining the whole. And that's why everybody is running into problems. That's why a superpower now, has a problem with preventable diseases because it's separated from the overall force of nature. So it's not a superpower. That's an illusion.
Right.
The superpower is the unified consciousness.
Absolutely.
So in order for you to become a superpower, a self-sustaining being, you have to come back into the what? The wholeness.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
The wholeness of thought. And then when you do this, you will become self-sustaining. Many people work on, when they hear about this message, I'm going to start not eating today, and I did the same thing. That's not where it's at. That's just 10%.
Right.
I had to straighten out a new way of thinking. How you looking at things.
Right.
Because you give things power on how you're relating to it. Now, a government is a governing body of a nation or a state of community. And one of our number one governments we got before we even get external is the government of our thinking.
Absolutely.
Some people really do have the program, if you don't eat, you'll die.
Right.
Some people still got the program, you must get your protein from meat.
Right.
Those are programs.
Right.
And every diet changes the program. And as soon as, and you got to understand, we're having life experiences. That's what you're doing. We're not saying eat or not eat. But what the human biomachine is saying, you can have the experience, but you don't need to become one with the experience and make like it's real. You must develop the power to have the experience, and when the experience is over, you can move on and go into another experience. Because there's only one law in creation. What is that? It's the law of play. That's why you live in heaven, but a lot of people can't see that. Due to the veil of a consciousness that's put over them. They got trapped within the experience of survival to make them seem like all of this is real. Uh-oh. We have to break the veil. Deception. Self-deception is the greatest.
That's how he came into existence.
Right. I'm here because you brought me here. So when the government is doing wrong, it's up to the people to what? Change the people that's in the government. Change the situation. So it could be better. So if your government or your perception has been educated a certain way, you have to challenge it. So it could bring peace into the organism, peace into your body, peace and health into your mind.
Yes.
This is what we call health. It's a peaceful existence. But look at this other definition of a government. It's a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnected network. See, we know what it is. It's parts, but they all must work together. It's sort of like a company that's up and running. They've got different departments. First you got the customer service, they get the order. Then it goes to make the blueprint. They're going through each department. But if a department get backed up, we call it got a bottleneck. There's one part within the whole structure that's backing up everything else. So the human being, when they deal with this crisis of energy blockages, that's what we call it. There's a bottleneck going on within the system. There's something that's blocking the whole organism. But if the whole organism, if we remove the bottleneck, everything gets to flow again. So the foundation of food freedom, of breatharianism, or the Breatharian Biomachine, is meditation, because it has the power to go seek out the bottleneck, to straighten it out, to get everything flowing, so that the organism can work as a whole. And then that's what is self-sustaining. It's the manifestation of the tree of life. This isn't far-fetched. We're going right into that direction. Now there's a thing called biophoton therapy. This is out there now. Biophoton therapy. Bio means life. Photon means light. And then we got therapy. They're using it as a therapy now. But before we get into that word, listen at the word photosynthesis. Now everybody will agree that a plant practices photosynthesis. But the human being don't do no photosynthesis. The only photosynthesis you do, they told us that we get vitamin D from the sun. Now this big old nuclear thermal entity that's in the sky, that's all we get from it. Now come on now. It's just that somebody gave you that program. That's all you get. But if we're light beings, you must be getting a lot more from the sun. Must. Just as somebody ain't telling you. But now we open this up. So photosynthesis means light. Photosynthesis means combining or putting together. Again, things must work together once it receives this light. So a plant, he grabs this light, and then he uses the light and converts it for the things he need it for. We do the same thing. So you really don't get vitamin D from the sun. The light makes contact with the calcium that's in our blood, and then there's an interaction that produces the vitamin D. So we practice synthesis. The body's already doing it. Everybody knows the power of breath work now. Here we are. Breath exercises, where you really start learning how to use the energy that we live in.
Right.
To what? Better the health. Better how we function. These are the keys. Meditation, getting this energy flow. Getting out the bottleneck.
Right.
Some guy just said to me, I got a pain in my back. What is it? It's a blockage, a bottleneck. Do it supposed to be there? It don't have to be. But I forgot. He ate that night when we was together, and I didn't. So I ain't got no pain in my back.
Right.
Big difference.
Big difference.
Right.
Whole level of resistance. Now I ain't telling him to don't eat at all.
Right.
But first of all, dealing with universal laws, he shouldn't have ate at night.
Right.
And maybe he should have went and walked it off before he went to bed. So it can balance itself out. Because the body does an energetic balancing act. Now listen to that word, energetic balancing act called homeostasis.
Yes.
It does it on its own. To do it the best it can to work with what it's putting into the body. This is the power of the Breatharian Biomachine. It does it by its nature. But you got to learn to work with it now with wisdom. And what? Should I use the word understanding or overstanding?
Overstand.
And people do say that to me now. When I first started teaching, people said, thank you for your knowledge. Now they're saying, thank you for your wisdom. What's the difference? One thing I was just talking some things, knowing things. But now they're saying, thank you for your wisdom, because that's the application of what you know. We're applying this stuff now.
Right. That's it.
You ain't going to see the fruits of it if you don't apply it.
Right.
That's right.
Because listen at this other word of government. It's a set of principles or procedures according to which something is done. An organized scene or method. It's the principles. The order of them on how they must be done. How they must be applied. So something can be carried out and worked. Absolutely. So a principle, it starts out as an idea, but an idea can manifest when it's applied. So the knowledge isn't from talking no more. It isn't from thought. When you apply it, it gains a subtle power.
Right. Absolutely.
So that the organism can function like it's supposed to function. So we're talking about this Breatharian Biomachine now. We're not talking about any old machine.
Right.
We upgrade. We're changing the vehicle.
Hallelujah.
And you can change your vehicle.
Absolutely.
Right now we got vehicles that can run off of fossil fuels. Everybody's used to that one.
Right.
And now we're in the age they can run off electricity, run off of solar power. Or you could take your vehicle right now. You ain't got to go buy one to do that. You could put a solar panel on it, and you could go off of gas or solar power. You could convert it.
Right.
You can go any way with it. So it's these principles or these, how we say about the guy that was in the Guinness Book of World Records. He did what? Went off the instruction manual.
Right.
So we're bringing out the instruction manual now on what the human being could do for, number one, this is a health message. At least stay out of the doctor's office on something that's preventable.
Right.
We got enough information right now that you shouldn't catch no high blood pressure.
Right.
Did I just say that? Yes, I did. We're going real with it. You ate too much. First thing the doctor going to say, what you been eating? Lose some weight?
Right.
Do you drink or smoke? That's the first thing he said. And then there was some brother who was on social media. He said, hey, everybody, I lost 30 pounds and my blood pressure's gone. He applied the instruction manual.
Right.
Whether if he realized what he was doing or not, that was a big thing. I tell people when I used to be overweight some 20 years ago, Now, I haven't forgot how to do it. I applied principles to get like that. Those are other principles. Those principles just called what? That's what they say desire leads to craving, and craving leads to pain and suffering. See, that's still an idea. There's still principles, but it brings you into another experience. See, we're not saying good or evil no more. You can do what you want to do. You're grown. Ain't that what we say?
You're going to pay for it either way.
Right, just have your experience. Some people might want the experience of how it feels to be sick. We don't know this. Right. But when you get tired of this experience, we're just bringing this knowledge here now of the Breatharian human biomachine for those who's tired of the last experiences. It might not be for everybody.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We want to go into another direction. To bring forth another existence. To bring forth what the scriptures say, a new heaven and a new earth. A new consciousness is going to bring forth a new body. Of course it's going to function differently. What type of body? It's going to bring forth a Breatharian body. It's the Breatharian Biomachine. No, it's not overweight. Right. People tried to get away with that before. Now you can't now. We ain't going for it. Now going back into biotherapy, what is it? Biotherapy is photons that are being produced and absorbed inside the human body at high rates. Now, most people don't even know that. Now, metaphysics, now listen at this. They all talk about getting a light body. The body of light, beings of light. And I told you the only thing you're looking at, when you see me, you're looking at a being of light. So in biotherapy, they're saying that photons are being produced and absorbed inside the human body at high rates. Not only is it absorbing light, it's also producing light. We give off light. That's why we have an electromagnetic field. Everybody has one. All physical matter has one. A dog has one. A cat has one. We got instruments where we can see it now. Your body's producing light. Biofeedback, that's right. This is why they got biophoton therapy. The organism is already giving off light. Now all we got to do is harmonize this light and kick it to another frequency. This is what we're talking about. Everybody's kicking off frequencies, vibrations. But through a certain behavior or a lifestyle, you can make the light expand. This is what we're talking about. So going back to the Breatharian Biomachine, you're taking on a lifestyle of integrity. This is going to be make the light expand. And then you start becoming one with the whole and start becoming sustained. When the light is at a certain frequency, it has to go to external sources to stay alive. It has to. That's the way it's functioning. It don't have enough light within the body to give off. Light attracts light. This is why meditation is the process, because it is the tool, whether it's light, sound, which is also light, vibration, no matter what you're using, chanting, mantras, whatever, they produce more light within the body so it can give it off to attract more or absorb more light into it. Oh man, did I say that?
Absolutely.
So you can't have any old type of behavior and talk about you want to be food free.
Come on now.
Right.
You got to be holistic.
A friend of mine just did a good video talking about the integrity. She got a point there. She said Breatharians had bad integrity on this path and it don't oppress her at all. So therefore, if we put the puzzle together, they're not fully being sustained by the light. They're just talking. They got the knowledge, but they haven't been applying the principles. There's a difference. Because we got something to work with now. We can see it. Performance. It must perform a certain way.
Self-government.
Self-government. This is what we're talking about.
Right.
Right.
Self-government within the whole.
Right.
And everything goes smooth. You have no problems.
Right.
And you're living a life of freedom.
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
Right.
Oh, man.
Any problem that do arise, you can solve it.
Right. Now listen at this. Biophotons form a link between physics and biology. Now this is what they say. And if it's biology, it also put in chemistry.
Right.
It's the link between them. Biophotons are the link between the physical, biology, and also chemistry. Because we're constantly giving off hormones.
Right.
We are chemical beings. We're giving off that. But we also have an electrical system of light. We got neurons passing electricity all through the body.
Absolutely.
And it's the link between the two. So you have the power to transform and alter the vehicle.
Absolutely.
This isn't far-fetched.
Absolutely.
We ain't making this up.
Right.
Nope.
You must apply the principles.
We're the witnesses. It exists.
It exists. Sort of like Ben-Amin, peace be upon him, said what? Truth has the inherent power
Produce the promise of that.
to produce the promised effect.
Right.
But when you make this transition, it's a process.
Right.
Because you're doing a live process on something. Nature shows us processes. Now, being in this consciousness we're in a thought process of instant gratification. It don't work like that when you alter in this vehicle. Because we got a lot of changes to make.
Right.
You got changes to make on a physical level, a molecular level,
Right.
a chemical level, nuclear level,
That goes
all the way
back-
to a subatomic level, back so you can get with the unified consciousness. That is your nourishment.
That goes
That
back-
is your vitality.
Right. That goes back to what you're saying about truth.
Right.
What is truth?
What is truth?
Is the right knowledge of reality.
It's the right knowledge of
So
reality.
that ties into what you're saying. The reality is that you have other challenges that you have to meet before you can get to your goal.
Exactly. You got other challenges to meet before you can meet your goal. So let's talk truthful now as you're making this transition. Everybody's coming from different communities, different family groups,
Right.
different situations.
Right.
Everybody has their own challenges that they have to develop and grow through in order to come into this ultimate reality,
Absolutely.
this ultimate truth, this unified consciousness to be sustained. There's no one method to get there.
High point. First of all, we have to be able to agree to disagree.
Right.
Rise above our differences.
Rise above our differences.
Come together on righteous principles.
Right.
And high morals. Because truth being the right knowledge of reality, you're real.
Right.
That's a reality.
That's a
No matter
reality.
what nobody else say at all,
Uh-huh.
you exist. You're tangible.
We're in existence.
You're there.
We're here.
That's truth.
That's truth.
So we
You're
have
looking
to
at the
listen.
truth.
Right, that's my point.
Right.
You have to listen to the words you're speaking because it's truth.
Right.
Yes.
So on one level we say truth, it's words at first. Remember we talked about that idea?
Start with-
Right.
There you go. There you go.
But we've
Start
been
with
taught
the idea.
to what? Break things in parts and pieces.
Right.
And it's not whole.
Right.
So you must become the walking truth, the living truth,
Yes.
from applying these principles or this idea,
Exactly.
the manifestation,
Exactly.
the self-sustaining tree of life.
Right. Exactly.
This is the age we're in.
Yeah.
This is the Breatharian Biomachine.
Right.
Hands down.
Right.
This is good, isn't it? This is a
Absolutely.
good age we're living in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Wonderful.
This is the knowledge where East meets West to become whole.
Yeah.
There is no East meets West no more. It's just one world,
The whole.
one community, one world,
Yeah.
one thought, one consciousness.
One consciousness.
Because everybody's in existence.
Right.
Now listen at this. Biophoton therapy, what does it do? It deals with low intensity light therapy treatment for a wide variety of medical conditions. They're using biotherapy, biophoton therapy, and it helps heal a lot of medical conditions, working with light. Light has the power to heal a lot of medical conditions that people are having. Working with the light. Now, it uses a thing called, it helps the body defensive systems. This allows the body to heal itself. Now listen how I said that. Light allows the body to heal itself. There's no really such thing as a healer.
That's right.
A person heals themselves.
That's right. That's
You
right.
have the power to heal yourself.
Right.
If you have the power to make yourself sick, you have the power to heal yourself.
Right.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right.
You're a light being.
If an individual took their foot, and you know how sometimes you have the rough skin on the foot,
Right.
and they peel that skin, guess what?
What?
The body replaces it.
The body replaces it. Absolutely. You hear what he said? The skin replaced itself. If you skin it, right. It regenerates.
Right.
Every 5 days you got a new intestines.
Right.
Every 27 days or 30 days you got new skin. There's a new cell up under there right now. Every year you're different. Every day you're different. So we're putting ourselves into another cycle of existence to live longevity / immortality. This ain't far-fetched no more. We're riding this high wave now. Why should I stop now?
Right. The path of ascension.
I'm on fire right now.
The path of ascension.
The path of ascension.
Ascension.
Right. But this is where we're at. Biophoton, and this is the definition of it again. Photons of light, which is light, in the UV, the ultraviolet, and the low visible light range that are produced by a biological system. It says the biological system produces it. We produce light. So that's why they say we got the external sun, and then we got an internal sun. This ain't far-fetched no more. This is what medical science is telling you.
Right.
You produce light. I did a class talking about the solar plexus. Notice that they got that word solar.
Right.
Sun.
Right.
And then plexus is where, like an expressway, where
Right.
the different highways all come together and cross over.
Right.
A plexus of veins and arteries coming in that area. And it says that there's a radiation that comes off of that place. That's why we call it a chakra or an energy center.
That's right.
It produces this light.
Right.
So when we unblock this light and let it flow with no obstacles,
Right.
health is guaranteed.
That's right.
And when you stay on the health path, you will naturally, by your nature, eat very little, you will, or none at all.
Right.
Because you're a light being, all you feed off is light. I'm talking about on a level of the what? Breatharian Biomachine. I'm not talking about the biomachine of the world,
Right.
Right.
of this world, or what they taught us or how it's supposed to operate. That's a lie.
Deception again.
That's deception.
Right.
We're breaking it more and more.
Hallelujah.
It's
Hallelujah.
a good age we're in.
Hallelujah.
Now listen at this. Biological tissues typically produce an observed radiant emittance in the visible and ultraviolet frequencies. So they say that the biological tissues that's in us produces and radiates into the UV field. This is what we do. This is why, again, this isn't far-fetched. I ain't making it up.
Right.
This is why we got auras, the electromagnetic fields. It's coming out of you.
Right.
And the more you balance it out, straighten it out, make it whole. One is a whole unit, you start functioning within the whole of nature.
Right.
And nature don't need nobody to sustain it. So you got to understand where we live.
So that's why when sometimes when a person sees you and they say, oh wow, you like you're glowing, you have a light around you.
Right. Person see you, you're
Right.
glowing.
Right.
Right. Or even when a person gets stressed out, you can see it.
Right.
So that's why there is no separate body, a physical body,
Right.
an emotional body, a mental body, a spiritual body. They're all one body.
Right.
But due to our education, we've been splitting everything up. So people ask me all the time, Elitom, how do I deal with emotions? Go work on your physical body. It is your emotions.
You gotta deal with the whole.
You look sick.
You gotta deal with the whole.
Got to deal with the whole. Stop breaking into parts and pieces. How you going to have good emotions if the physical vehicle, you letting that go down?
Won't
Right.
work.
It won't work. How you going to have a better, clearer mind if you letting the physical vehicle go down?
Right.
That is your mental state.
Right.
That's spirit. That's light. It's either going to shine bright or it's going to shine dim. And it's up to us to do it because you're producing the light. The internal sun must come out. It must radiate and change the world. Why? Because it's his birthright. That's what nature does. Is this making sense? This is awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It makes sense. It's on point.
So food freedom, of course it sounds scary when a person first hears it. When I first heard it, I said, what? And I went chasing information. That's what I did. I didn't even go call somebody who was living all night. I didn't have to. I knew enough at that time to realize I did enough on myself at that time when I picked it up.
Right.
The doctrine. When I already learned about fasting, I already learned the power of different foods and stuff like this. I already made myself sick before off of a behavior. Eating all types of heavy foods. You don't need to eat all that heavy food.
Right.
Graduate from it. Kiss it off as last goodbye. You already experienced that. Experience another life now of health, life, longevity, good relationships, good livelihood. All of these things you can have. Because that's what the light wants. Other than the night, the light won't go out.
Right. Exactly.
Ain't there a scripture that says the light in the temple must never go out? That was the priest's job to go into the temple and make sure the light was fired up every day. Don't let it go out.
Right.
So it's our responsibility, since you know now that you produce biophotons. Don't let the light go out.
Right.
Don't let the light become dim. Magnify it.
Right.
Start living healthy.
That makes sense.
Right. There ain't that much food in the world I'm going to let kill me.
Right.
That's crazy. You done lost your mind. I love to eat. You're going to let your food kill you. Take you out of existence.
And they using food.
I look at people like they're crazy now. You crazy.
They're using food today as a weapon.
As a weapon. Yeah, they're using food today as a weapon. Now, I'm not saying you could go eat or not eat.
Right.
But when you sit up here and overdo it and defending it, bragging about it, that right there is a transient being. What did that mean? That's a person who's here today and gone tomorrow. You ain't going to be in existence soon.
Absolutely.
Right.
This ain't even no argument.
That's right.
It's true.
Man, we got to sit on this one a little bit.
High and holy.
It's time for us to do some
Riding
Qigong now.
riding on the wing.
Right, we just got hot off that message.
We're riding on the wing of truth.
So now it's time, we're going to do some meditation to see what this is about.
Okay.
So for right now, I hope everybody got a lot out of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It don't need to be long.
Powerful.
And all we need to do is hit these principles, hit this idea, bring in a new idea.
That was life energy.
For those who want to accept it and understand it,
Yeah.
it's a user-friendly universe we live in. It's
Right.
not about beating up on yourself, because that last program we got put in us, it seems strong. The more you keep doing something over and over again, the habit or the energy of it gets very strong. So it's hard to quit smoking cigarettes if you did it for 20 years. And then people being professional eaters, yes, it can get frustrating and stuff like this. I understand this. It's not about putting down nobody. You understand you got to love yourself and understand that we have been in a condition, whether it's our fault or not, we were born into it, into this cycle.
Right.
But we can make changes and we can start becoming slowly back into the hole. Be easy on yourself, don't beat up on yourself, and just live healthy one step at a time.
Right.
And as you do this, you are recreating yourself because nature works in slow processes and we do too. It takes time for a cell to get strong enough with a new idea to bring on a new community of cells. This is what we're living with. But we'll be all right.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
We're going to make it through this storm.
Oh, listen,
Absolutely.
that's powerful, my brother.
All right. Talk to y'all soon.
Hallelujah.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Because that's me.
Oh, man.
I'm looking